Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive, into the world of paleontology. We've got some incredible discoveries to unpack today, some seriously mind-blowing stuff.
Yeah, it really is remarkable how dynamic this field is. Every new fossil on Earth kind of adds another piece to the puzzle, you
Yeah,
know? And sometimes it just like reshapes our whole understanding of prehistoric life.
It's true, and today we're exploring some of those pieces, focusing on how these amazing creatures adapted to their environment, delving into, their unique characteristics, and see how they survived in a world so different from our own.
It is a fascinating journey, uncovering those secrets of survival from millions of years ago.
yeah.
And I guess there's no better place to start than with the king itself, right? Tyrannosaurus rex. It's a popular one, but there's always something new to learn.
Oh, absolutely. Who can resist the T-Rex? This time, though, it's not just about size and ferocity. We're diving into a debate that's shaking up the T-Rex family tree.
Yeah.
Some scientists are proposing that what we've always called Tyrannosaurus rex might actually be three distinct species.
Yeah, it's a pretty bold claim for sure. Paleontologist Gregory Paul, he argues that subtle variations in femur bones and the time periods in which these fossils are found point to the existence of Tyrannosaurus imperator.
Imperator.
Yeah, Tyrannosaurus regina,
Regina.
and of course the familiar Tyrannosaurus rex.
So instead of just the one tyrant lizard king, we might have a whole dynasty.
Precisely. But of course, this theory isn't without its critics. Many paleontologists are hesitant to embrace this reclassification, especially given Paul's history of, proposing those controversial dinosaur groupings. Remember that whole Deinonychus versus Velociraptor debate he sparked?
Oh yeah, that was a taxonomic tangle for sure. So what's making scientists so hesitant this time around? Is it just, once bitten, twice shy, or are there genuine concerns about the evidence for multiple T-Rex species?
It's kind of a mix of both, I think. Some are wary of Paul's track record, while others point to the fact that variations within a species are very common. And to, say they're different species, you need very strong evidence.
So it's like a jury's still out situation. More research needed to settle this T-Rex family drama.
Exactly. That's the beauty of paleontology. It's constantly evolving. New discoveries can overturn old assumptions and force us to re-examine even the most iconic creatures. Speaking of re-examinations, our next stop takes us to Asia, where a potential rival to T-Rex's size has emerged.
Whoa, a challenger approaches. This I gotta hear. Is this a new species, or are we talking about a close relative of T-Rex?
Well, it's a bit of a mystery, really. We have Zuching tyrannus, a large tyrannosaurid from China, which in itself is a formidable predator. But the real intrigue stems from a massive, deformed femur found alongside Zuching tyrannus remains. This femur suggests the existence of another tyrannosaur, potentially even larger than T-Rex.
Hold on. Larger than T-Rex. Are we talking about a creature that could dwarf even the king? What kind of size are we estimating?
Estimates based on the femur suggest this unknown predator could have reached a staggering 12 to 13.5 meters in length. Put that into perspective. That's, significantly longer than the largest known T-Rex specimen.
That is absolute mind-blowing. It really makes you wonder what other giants might be lurking undiscovered out there. It seems like the competition for top predator was fierce, but not all dinosaurs were, engaged in epic battles for dominance. Some, like the Stegosaurus, were focused on developing unique defenses to survive.
Ah, yes, the Stegosaurus with its iconic plates and spiky tail.
Ah,
And speaking of stegosaurs, a recent discovery in China has pushed back the origins of this fascinating family even further than we thought.
Oh, a new ancestor for the Stegosaurus. Tell me more.
This is Bashanosaurus primitivus, the oldest and most primitive stegosaur discovered to date. This remarkable find provides a glimpse into the early evolution of these plated dinosaurs.
So if Bashanosaurus is the ancestor, does that mean it had all the classic Stegosaurus features? The plates, the spikes, the whole shebang?
Not quite. Bashanosaurus was smaller than its later relatives, and its plates were less developed. It's fascinating to see these features in their early stages, providing clues about how they evolved.
It's like looking at the first draft of a masterpiece. You can see the basic elements, but they haven't been fully refined yet. So what was life like for Bashanosaurus? Was it battling giant predators like the Tyrannosaurids?
Actually, Bashanosaurus lived in a rather unique environment. Imagine a post-extinction rookie zone, where both herbivores and predators were relatively small. It was a world recovering from a major extinction event, offering a fresh start for various lineages.
A rookie zone for dinosaurs. I love that. It paints such a vivid picture of a world in transition, where new species were emerging and experimenting with different survival strategies. But does the discovery of Bashanosaurus mean we've completed the Stegosaur family tree? Or are there still missing branches waiting to be found?
Oh, there's always more to discover. Bashanosaurus is a significant piece of the puzzle, but it also raises new questions. The search for even earlier ancestors continues, and every new fossil has the potential to rewrite the stegosaur story.
It's incredible how these discoveries just keep reshaping our understanding of the past. It's like a never-ending detective story, with each clue leading to new mysteries to solve.
Indeed. And sometimes those clues lead us to debunk old theories, as is the case with our next dinosaur duo, Triceratops and Torsaurus.
Ah, the age-old debate. Are they two distinct species or just different life stages of the same dinosaur? I've always been fascinated by that one. What's the latest verdict?
Well, for a long time, a popular theory suggested that Torosaurus, with its large frill and holes, was simply the mature form of Triceratops. The theory was intriguing, especially given the lack of juvenile Torosaurus fossils. However, a recent discovery has thrown a wrench into this hypothesis.
Oh, what kind of discovery has the power to overturn such a well-established theory?
Paleontologists have unearthed a sub-adult Torosaurus specimen, and here's the kicker. It has developing frill holes. This discovery effectively debunks the idea that Torosaurus is just an older Triceratops.
So, no more awkward teenage Triceratops phase transforming into a majestic Torosaurus. It seems like we need to update our dinosaur yearbooks.
Indeed. This finding provides solid evidence that Torosaurus was its own distinct species, adding another layer of complexity to the ceratopsian family tree.
It's amazing how a single fossil can change our entire perspective on a dinosaur's lineage. It really highlights the importance of constantly questioning and reevaluating our assumptions in the face of new evidence.
Absolutely. Paleontology is all about embracing the unknown and being prepared to revise our understanding as new discoveries come to light.
Well, speaking of the unknown, our next discovery takes us from the land to the sea, and this one is truly bizarre. We're talking about a 10-legged octopus named after, wait for it, President Joe Biden.
It does sound a bit outlandish, doesn't it? But believe it or not, this ancient cephalopod, officially named Calypsomapodibideni, is a fascinating glimpse into the early evolution of octopuses.
A 10-legged octopus named after a U.S. president. So that's certainly a headline grabber. But beyond the quirky name, what makes this discovery so significant?
Calypsomapodibideni is considered a key transitional fossil, bridging the gap between ancient cephalopods and modern octopuses. While it sported 10 arms, like some ancient squids, its internal anatomy points to a closer relationship with octopuses.
So it's like a missing link in octopus evolution. It had features of both squids and octopuses, showing us how these creatures diverged and developed their unique characteristics.
Exactly. It suggests that early octopuses might have resembled squids, but were already evolving those distinct internal features that would eventually set them apart.
It's remarkable how much we can learn about evolution from a single fossil. But speaking of fossils, let's turn our attention to another group of fascinating creatures, the pterosaurs.
Ah, yes, the rulers of the prehistoric skies. Always a fan favorite, and for good reason. Their adaptations for flight are truly remarkable. And speaking of adaptations, we've got some intriguing new insights into pterosaur diets thanks to a rather unusual discovery. Fossilized pterosaur pellets.
Hold on, are we talking about fossilized pterosaur puke? Like the stuff they coughed up after a meal?
In a nutshell, yes. These pellets, technically called regurgitolates, are packed with indigestible bits of their prey, providing a fascinating window into what these flying reptiles were munching on.
Okay, that's both gross and fascinating. It's like a prehistoric CSI case, analyzing pterosaur vomit to reconstruct their diet. What kind of clue have these pellets revealed? Did different pterosaurs specialize in different types of prey?
Indeed they did. For instance, pellets found alongside fossils of Kunpengopterus, a pterosaur from China, suggest a diet primarily composed of fish.
So Kunpengopterus was like a prehistoric fish hawk soaring over the waters and snatching up unsuspecting prey. I can picture it now.
A very apt comparison. These pellets are helping us piece together not just what pterosaurs ate, but also how they fit into their ecosystems. They're a goldmine of information for paleontologists. And speaking of gold mines of information, we've got another pterosaur-related discovery, but this one ties into a much larger event, the Chicxulub impact.
Ah, the dinosaur doomsday event. What could pterosaurs possibly tell us about that catastrophic asteroid impact?
Well, exceptionally preserved fish fossils from the time of the impact suggest that it occurred during springtime in the northern hemisphere. This finding is crucial because it adds more detail to the timeline of that devastating event.
Wow, springtime. Talk about bad timing. I guess even dinosaurs weren't immune to the irony of a springtime apocalypse.
It's a sobering reminder of the immense power of nature and the fragility of life, even for creatures as mighty as dinosaurs. Speaking of fragility, our next discovery highlights the fact that even giants weren't invincible.
Oh, a vulnerable giant. This I have to hear. What kind of giant are we talking about and what made it so vulnerable?
We're turning our attention to the long-necked giant, Diplodocus. Specifically, a juvenile Diplodocus fossil has revealed some peculiar bone abnormalities that have left scientists puzzled.
Bone abnormalities. Does that mean this Diplodocus was injured or deformed in some way?
That's what makes this discovery so intriguing. The abnormalities are not due to injury or malformation, but rather something far more unexpected. They suggest the presence of air sacs connected to the lungs, and these air sacs exhibit signs of infection.
Wait, air sacs in a Diplodocus? Aren't those more commonly associated with birds?
You're absolutely right. Air sacs are a key feature of the avian respiratory system, and they're also found in some dinosaurs, including Diplodocus. But in this case, the abnormalities in the air sacs point to a potential respiratory infection, perhaps even something like pneumonia or a flu-like illness.
A sick Diplodocus. That's both fascinating and a little bit sad. It humanizes these creatures in a way, reminding us that they weren't just giant, invincible behemoths. They were living, breathing animals susceptible to the same ailments that afflict creatures today.
It's a humbling realization, isn't it? It underscores the interconnectedness of life across vast stretches of time and reminds us that even giants can be brought down by something as seemingly insignificant as a respiratory infection. But as much as we've uncovered today, there's still so much more to explore.
I can't wait to see what other surprises the world of paleontology has in store for us. But for now, let's take a short break and come back to delve even deeper into these incredible discoveries.
Absolutely. There's much more to uncover, and I promise the next round of revelations is just as mind-blowing.
Welcome back to our prehistoric journey. We've already covered so much, from potential T-Rex dynasties to that sick Diplodocus and everything in between. But we're not done yet. There's a whole lot more to uncover.
Absolutely. The world of paleontology is constantly expanding, offering new insights and challenging those old assumptions. And today we're diving even deeper in some of the most fascinating discoveries, exploring how these creatures adapted to their environments.
Right. We talk about T-Rex's potential relatives, the Stegosaurus family tree, even a 10-legged octopus. But now I'm curious, what else have we got? Any more of those, peculiar, almost unbelievable finds?
Oh, you bet. Let's journey back to the seas where we left off with Calypsomapodibideni, that ancient 10-armed cephalopod. Remember, this creature provided crucial insights into octopus evolution.
Right. The missing link between ancient squids and modern octopuses. It had me wondering, how did those extra arms help it survive? What advantage did they provide in its ancient environment?
It's a question that has paleontologists pondering as well. Some speculate those extra arms might have been used for hunting, ensnaring prey in a deadly embrace. Others suggest they might have played a role in locomotion, providing additional grip and stability. It's amazing how such a seemingly small difference, 2 extra arms, could have had such a significant impact on its survival.
It makes you wonder what other subtle adaptations we might be overlooking in the fossil record. It's like a whole new level of detail in understanding prehistoric life. But speaking of unique adaptations, let's get back to those pterosaurs and their intriguing diets, revealed by those fossilized pellets.
Ah, yes, those pterosaur regurgitolites. They've opened up a whole new avenue for understanding pterosaur ecology. Remember we were talking about Campingopterus, the fish-eating pterosaur from China? Well, those pellets weren't the only clue to its diet.
So there's even more to this prehistoric detective story. What else can we learn about Campingopterus and its fishy meals?
Well, scientists have also analyzed the shape and structure of Campingopterus's skull and teeth. And it turns out they're perfectly suited for snatching fish from the water. Its long, narrow snout and sharp interlocking teeth were ideal for grasping slippery prey.
It's amazing how every detail, from skull shape to tooth structure, points to its specialized diet. It really highlights how finely tuned these creatures were to their environments. But it also makes me wonder, if Campingopterus was the fish specialist, were there other pterosaurs with completely different feeding strategies?
Absolutely. The world of pterosaurs was incredibly diverse with a wide range of adaptations for different ecological niches. Take, for instance, the pterosaur Zingaripterus.
Zingaripterus. That name rings a bell, but I can't quite place it. Refresh my memory. What was special about this particular pterosaur?
Zingaripterus had a rather unusual set of jaws and teeth. Instead of long, sharp teeth for grabbing fish, it had a long, upcurved beak and flat, crushing teeth. Imagine a pterosaur with a beak like a pair of
A
pliers.
beak like pliers. That doesn't sound very fish-friendly. What on earth was Tsungaripterus using those jaws for?
Scientists believe Tsungaripterus used its specialized beak to pry shellfish off rocks and then crush them with its powerful teeth. It's a completely different feeding strategy compared to the fish-snatching Cunpeniopterus. It shows just how adaptable pterosaurs were, evolving to exploit a variety of food sources.
It's incredible to think that these flying reptiles were not just soaring through the skies, but also filling diverse ecological roles, from fish hunters to shellfish crushers. It paints a much richer picture of the prehistoric world. But speaking of diverse ecosystems, let's shift gears for a moment and revisit that monumental event that reshaped life on Earth, the Chicxulub impact.
Ah, yes, the asteroid impact that marked the end of the dinosaur era, a cataclysmic event that had repercussions for countless species across the globe. And we've got some new insights into its aftermath, thanks to some remarkably well-preserved fossils.
We were talking about the timing of the impact earlier, how those fish fossils pointed to a springtime apocalypse. But what else have we learned from those fossils? What can they tell us about life after the impact?
Those fish fossils weren't just remarkable for their timing, they were also incredibly well preserved, capturing details rarely seen in fossils from that period. And what those details revealed was a snapshot of the immediate aftermath of the impact.
A snapshot of the apocalypse. That sounds both terrifying and fascinating. What kind of details are we talking about?
Well, some of the fish fossils were found with tiny glassy spherules embedded in their gills. These spherules are thought to be molten rock ejected from the impact site, raining down across the planet. It's a chilling reminder of the sheer violence of that event.
Wow. Tiny pieces of molten rock raining down from the sky. That's a whole new level of apocalyptic imagery. It's almost hard to fathom the scale of the destruction that must have unfolded. But those fish fossils also tell a story of resilience, don't they? The fact that they were fossilized at all suggests that life, in some form, persisted even in the face of such devastation.
Exactly. It's a testament to the tenacity of life. Even in the darkest of times, life finds a way. And speaking of finding a way, let's shift gears once more and delve back into the world of dinosaurs, where a recent discovery has challenged our understanding of dinosaur growth and development.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What kind of discovery are we talking about, and which dinosaur is in the spotlight this time?
We're returning to the iconic Triceratops, that three-horned behemoth that roamed North America during the late Cretaceous. For a long time, paleontologists believed they had a pretty good grasp of Triceratops' growth stages, from hatchlings to adults. But a recent find has thrown a wrench into those assumptions.
Ooh, a Triceratops growth spurt mystery. This I have to hear. What's got the scientists so puzzled?
The discovery of a Triceratops skull that doesn't quite fit neatly into the established growth stages. It's too big to be a juvenile, but too small to be a fully grown adult. It represents a sort of in-between stage that wasn't previously recognized.
So it's like finding a missing chapter in the Triceratops' life story. What does this in-between stage tell us about how these dinosaurs grew and developed?
It suggests that Triceratops' growth might have been more complex than we previously thought, with potentially multiple growth spurts or periods of rapid development. It opens up a whole new avenue of research into the factors that influence dinosaur growth rates and how those rates might have varied between species.
It's amazing how a single, seemingly out-of-place skull can challenge our entire understanding of a dinosaur's life cycle. It's a reminder that even with creatures as well studied as Triceratops, there's always more to learn. But speaking of learning, our next discovery takes us from the well-trodden paths of iconic dinosaurs to the more obscure corners of the prehistoric world.
Yes, we're venturing into the realm of lesser-known creatures, those that might not grab headlines but are just as fascinating in their own right. We're talking about a group of small, feathered dinosaurs known as alvarezsaurs.
Alvarezsaurs. I must confess that name doesn't ring a bell. What were these creatures like, and what made them so special?
Alvarezsaurs were small, bipedal dinosaurs with short forelimbs and a single large claw in each hand. They were quite bird-like in appearance, and some scientists believe they might even be closely related to the ancestors of birds.
Bird-like dinosaurs with giant claws. That's quite a combination. What were they using those claws for? Were they digging, hunting, or perhaps something else entirely?
That's a question that has puzzled paleontologists for years. There have been many theories, ranging from digging for insects to tearing into termite mounds, but recent research has shed new light on the function of those enigmatic claws.
Ooh, a claw mystery solved. I'm on the edge of my seat. What did the research reveal?
By studying the bone structure and muscle attachments of the alvarezsaur forelimbs, scientists have concluded that those claws were likely used for digging, but not in the way we might imagine. They weren't digging burrows or searching for buried prey. Instead, they were likely using those claws to rip open rotting wood and feast on the insects inside.
So they were like prehistoric woodpeckers. That's a far cry from the fearsome predators we often imagine when we think of dinosaurs.
Exactly. It's a reminder that the dinosaur world was filled with an incredible diversity of lifestyles and adaptations. Not all dinosaurs were giant, toothy predators. Some were small, feathered creatures with a penchant for digging into rotten wood for a tasty insect snack.
It's a delightful image, isn't it? It really expands our appreciation for the sheer variety of life that existed millions of years ago. But as fascinating as these individual discoveries are, I'm also curious about the bigger picture. How do all these pieces fit together to tell the story of prehistoric life?
That's a great question, and it's one that paleontologists are constantly grappling with. Every new discovery adds another piece to the puzzle, but the puzzle itself is constantly changing shape. It's a dynamic process, and sometimes those pieces fit together in unexpected ways, forcing us to reevaluate our understanding of the past.
It's like a never-ending detective story, with twists and turns and unexpected revelations around every corner, and that's what makes it so captivating.
Yeah.
But I think we've covered a lot of ground for now. Perhaps we should take a short break and come back to explore how these discoveries continue to reshape our understanding of the prehistoric world.
An excellent idea. There's much more to uncover, and I promise the final leg of our journey is just as exciting as the first two.
Welcome back.
Right.
It's amazing how much ground we've covered, unearthing these fascinating details about prehistoric life. We've talked about giant predators, those unique adaptations, even those intriguing pterosaur pellets. It's all connected, isn't it? Each discovery kind of builds upon the last, painting a richer picture of the past.
It really is a beautiful tapestry, woven together by fossils, research, and a lot of passionate scientists. And believe me, there are still plenty of threads to unravel. We've barely scratched the surface.
Okay, now I'm really curious. What other surprises are hidden in the fossil record? What's next on our prehistoric exploration?
Well, let's venture back into the world of pterosaurs, those magnificent rulers of the prehistoric skies. We've talked about their diverse diets from fish snatching to shellfish crushing, but there's another aspect of pterosaur evolution that's equally fascinating. Their incredible size range. Remember Disungaripterus, the shellfish specialist with the pliers-like beak? Well, compared to some of its relatives, it was practically a dwarf.
Hold on, a pterosaur that makes Disungaripterus look small. Now that's a mental image I need to process. What kind of size are we talking about here?
Imagine a pterosaur with a wingspan rivaling that of a small airplane. We're talking about creatures like Quetzalcoatlus, a giant pterosaur from North America, with an estimated wingspan of up to 10 meters.
10 meters. That's like a prehistoric hang glider. It's hard to even imagine a creature that large taking to the skies. How on earth did they manage to get airborne with such enormous wings?
It's a question that has baffled scientists for years. They likely used a combination of powerful leg muscles and a unique launching technique, perhaps even using all four limbs to push off the ground and generate lift. It's a testament to the power and ingenuity of evolution, shaping creatures capable of defying gravity on such a massive scale.
It makes you wonder what other seemingly impossible feats of nature might be hidden in the fossil record. It's like nature was constantly pushing those boundaries of what was possible. But as much as I'm captivated by these giants, I'm also drawn to the smaller, more delicate creatures that often get overlooked. What about those alvarezsaurs we were discussing earlier? Those bird-like dinosaurs with a taste for insects. Have there been any new discoveries about their lives?
You're in luck. Recent research has focused on the alvarezsaur skull and brain case, revealing some fascinating details about their senses. It turns out these dinosaurs had incredibly well-developed hearing, possibly even rivaling that of modern owls.
Wow, super hearing alvarezsaurs. That's amazing. But what advantage would such keen hearing have provided in their environment? Were they listening for scurrying insects in the undergrowth, or perhaps something else entirely?
That's a question that is sparking a lot of debate. Some scientists believe their enhanced hearing was primarily for hunting, allowing them to pinpoint the location of insects hiding in wood or underground. Others suggest it might have played a role in communication or even predator avoidance.
It's fascinating to think about how their senses shape their world, how they experience their environment in ways we can only imagine. It's a reminder that the fossil record isn't just about bones and teeth. It's also about reconstructing the sensory experiences of these extinct creatures. But as we delve deeper into these specific discoveries, I keep coming back to a bigger question. What's the overarching narrative here? What's the grand story that these fossils are trying to tell us?
It's a question that drives every paleontologist. It's about piecing together the history of life on Earth, understanding the interconnectedness of ecosystems, the rise and fall of species, and the forces that shaped our planet over millions of years. Each fossil, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant, contributes to that grand narrative.
It's a story that's still being written, isn't it? Every new discovery adds another chapter, another layer of complexity and wonder to our understanding of the past.
Precisely. And the most exciting part is that we don't know what the next chapter holds. What new discoveries await us, what mysteries will be solved, what paradigms will be shifted. It's an ongoing adventure, and we're all invited to participate.
It's an invitation I can't refuse. There's something truly magical about uncovering the secrets of the past, about connecting with creatures that lived millions of years ago. It's a reminder that we are part of something much larger than ourselves, a story that stretches far beyond our own limited lifespans.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So keep exploring, keep questioning, and never lose your sense of wonder. The world of paleontology is waiting to be discovered, and who knows what incredible adventures await.
Well said. That's a wrap on another deep dive into the world of paleontology. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.